Good morning, everyone. Happy new Stampin' Up! Catalog Day. I'm going to wait a few more minutes here for people to show up. Okay, I'm going to get started. So, as you know, today is the first day we can order out of the new catalog. And I can finally show you some stuff on the inside. We are always not able to do that until the catalog goes live. So today I'm going to be using the new embossing folder, which can be found on page 222. It's called the Lovely Floral. It's one of the thicker dynamic embossing folders. Now, a few things I wanted to point out before I get started. Something new that Stampin' Up! Is doing in the catalog. You'll see on the embossing folders page, there's 2 color blocks right here. That tells you how to do your sandwich in the Big Shot machine. This one would be for the thinner embossing folders, and this one would be for the dynamic embossing folders. Now, if you go back a couple pages and check out the dies, they're doing the same thing. Hi guys, so glad you are here. So if you look on page 215 for the die page, again, you'll have 3 different colored blocks. And it tells you the sandwich to use for each type of die. So I thought I would point that out this morning because I'm using an embossing folder. So that's a good tip to know. I also wanted to show you the 5 new in colors. I made 5 identical cards. We've got Blueberry Bushel, Grapefruit Grove, Call Me Clover, Pineapple Punch, and Lovely Lipstick. Aren't these colors pretty? I love all of them. I don't even know if I had to pick a favorite. I love them all. And I did these all the same way, and then I added some gold speckles there in the background. Okay, so let's get started on the technique that I'm showing you today. It's coloring the inside of the embossing folder. Isn't that pretty? I'm going to list all of the supplies that I'm using. Poppy Parade ink, Flirty Flamingo, Lemon Lime Twist, Coastal Cabana, and Bermuda Bay. These 2 colors I've said before on some of my videos, this is my favorite color combination right here. So I was so happy to see this color return. For stamp sets, I'm using the Big Wishes. What's funny about this stamp set, this is new. I fell in love with this font. I bought this only because of this sentiment. I do love the other images, but I just love this. So this is called Big Wishes. I'm also using the new Artisan pearls. I'm gonna add a few in the background. And then we've got the embossing folder. For cardstock, Bermuda Bay, 11 inches by 4 1/4, scored at 5 1/2. Coastal Cabana, 5 1/4 by 4. And Whisper White, 5 inches by 3 3/4 inches. And then I have a tissue and the Aqua Painter, and then the sentiment that we're going to use. So let me get my Big Shot out. The first thing we're going to do is emboss the Whisper White. Now, because I want my embossing to really stand out, I'm using the designer paper. I made a shim. I explained that in a previous video. This is the cardboard that is behind your designer paper pack when you purchase a pack. I just cut it 6 by 6 and I write shim on it so I know that it's my shim. Now, because this is one of the thicker embossing folders, we just need 1 clear plate. Going to do something a little different on this card. I put the image at the bottom. For this card, I'm going to put it at the top this time. One thing that you have to be careful, I gotta find it. There is a butterfly right there, so make sure he's not upside down. Okay, I'm gonna do this right like so, because I know there's room there for the sentiment. I'm going to add the shim on top, and that just gives it a little bit more of a push so that the embossing is a little bit deeper. Okay, let me move all of this stuff aside so I can spread out my ink pads. Now, I've been playing around with these a little bit. They are a little bit stiffer than our old style. I'm finding that to get the ink in the inside cover, I'm placing my palm like this and I'm squeezing this way instead of going this way. And it seems to be giving me a lot more ink. So I've already done this with all of the other colors. I'm going to put some aside right here. So I've got 5 ink wells to play with. Now what I've done to make this a little closer to you, I've taped 2 clear cases together. That way it'll be up a little bit more. I'm using my Aqua Painter, but I'm not going to be squeezing. I'm just using the wetness at the tip of the Aqua Painter. So let me see. I'm going to start out with the Poppy Parade. I'm just barely dipping that in the ink. And I'm going to do this flower right here. I'm starting way in the corner and pulling out. I'm hoping that the corner will be darker, and if not, I'll add more ink. And it is okay to leave some white spots in there. And I'm just barely touching this. Now this part is a little dry already, so I'm going to go ahead and just add a little bit more right in the corner to darken that up. See how it's starting to shade? And I'm just pulling forward. And the secret is very little ink on your brush. Okay, now I'm going to use the Flirty Flamingo to do the larger flower. And the same thing, I've barely got any ink on the end. And as I pull outwards, it gets lighter. And that's the effect I'm going for. I hope you guys can see that okay with me raising it a little bit. So we have a few more hours left before we can order. Stampin' Up! Is very busy right now, removing all of the retiring products and adding the new ones in. We're supposed to be able to order around noontime, Mountain Time. So for me, East Coast, that's 2 o'clock p.m. And I'm sure you guys all have a wish list going. Oh, you like the tip about shimming, Samantha? Yeah, it gives it a little bit more of a push. That way, it's a little bit deeper. Okay, now I'm going to go around one more time and just add to the inside. So you guys can see how that gives it more of a shaded, watercolored look. And it gives it a lot of dimension, too. It doesn't really take that long to do this either. But again, the trick is not to squeeze so that you add a lot of water. And then once it starts drying, it dries a lot lighter. Okay, now I'm going to do the center of the flower. And that one is pretty easy. You're just doing little dots. And it'll start coming to life here when I add more color, especially when I add the lemon lime twist. Okay, that's it for the center. The center is pretty easy. Okay, now I'm going to do the butterfly. Oh, I don't even know why I took the Bermuda Bay out. That's the cardstock color. I'm not using Bermuda Bay at all. Okay, now I've got Coastal Cabana for the butterfly. And he's got a few wings here. It's probably hard to see some of the embossing from where you guys are sitting. Let's see, we've got one more.
I don't know what that means.
Whoops. I'm sorry, my iPad just did something funny. I hope I didn't lose you guys. No, I still see it. Okay. Siri came on and asked me a question for some reason. Okay, now I gotta see if I can get back on to see you guys. She totally wiped me off. Okay, there's my butterfly. And lastly, now the leaves are actually bumps that I'm going to color over. That's where you have to be a little bit more careful. So again, don't add a lot. And I'm not going all the way to the end there. I'm just highlighting the bumps. And let me get some more water on the tip. If you see that your tip is drying up, just squeeze on the tissue. These are just the little tiny dots on one of those flowers. So you see how easy this is to color. It's really not, anybody can do this, promise. Okay, we've got one more flower right here. Oh, Patricia, you did lose me. Okay, I don't know. Something happened to my my phone and my iPad. I might have had a little power outage there. I'm not sure. I'm hoping you guys can go back and see it if you did miss some of it. I was just coloring at least. I wasn't doing anything brand new. Okay, we've got one more that has a little bit of green. And I find this very relaxing. Okay, that's all I'm going to do for coloring. See how neat that is? So I really like how this flower and that flower came out with the shading on the end there. It really stands out. So let's go ahead and glue everything together. And actually, I still have this sentiment to stamp. Oh, that's where the Bermuda Bay ink comes in. It's for the sentiment. You swear I'm not awake yet this morning. Okay, so this time it's going to be at the bottom of the card. And then you can decide which one you like the best. Isn't that neat? I just love that font. I keep saying that. So I'm going to have a large order going in today because I have everybody that's participating in my product shares. If you don't know what a product share is, I order all the designer paper, ribbons, and embellishments, and I split them between 4 people. So it makes it so it's not as expensive and you get a sampling of everything. Okay, I'm going to put a little bit of a darker pearl on this card. There. So one has the sentiment on the top and one has the sentiment on the bottom. So you can figure out which one you would like better if you want to try this. So what's coming up? Next week I have my Tuesday techniques at 7 p.m. Eastern time. And I have my Wednesday, my usual Wednesday class at 8 p.m. I'm going to try to do something on Sunday if I'm home. It'll be at night, so I'll make sure I announce that ahead of time. So enjoy your day today. Enjoy making up your catalog list. And I hope you guys do order. If you have any questions, leave me a comment and I'll go back and review you guys. Since I did have the little glitch there with my iPad. Have a good day, everyone, and have a good weekend. Thanks for coming to visit with me.